Hello everybody, this is Barzone and I'm here at the studio here for SlamEntertainmentRadio.com. I keep doing that, SlamEnternetRadio.com. Make sure the camera's on. Oh, okay, it's running. Alright, ready? Alright. Where's the music? You know what? I don't hear anything.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet? Hurry up. Hello everyone, you're listening live to the Barzone Entertainment presents Rock and Roll Profiles by Msbarzone, brought to you by SlamEnternetRadio.com. You can listen to us on our archives anytime. You can find us on iTunes or on SlamEnternetRadio.com. The Barzone Entertainment Magazine presents special highlights on Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones, the rock biography of Mick Jagger and Keith Richards and Brian Jones, his lifestyles, the supreme performances, his achievements, his colossal era. He was a legend of his time, brought to us, to the world. He brought us the world of rare, sweeping cultural sensation. He was a rock icon. Mick Jagger is known to his public as a suave, arrogant superstar who's spoiled and seemingly narcissistic with a sexy cavalier attitude. He's carefree and sensual. He is known as the Casanova to women. Has treated women with a cavalier attitude, reckless with his drug abuse, scandals, his rock history, and known as London's bad boy. Mick Jagger's bio. In January of 1989, the Rolling Stones were inducted into the Hall of Fame, but not before the Road to Rock'em took a jagged edge tour to get there. Today, we are going to discuss on the Barzone rock profile of the legends, the history and profile of the rock legend Mick Jagger. Mick started out, his original name was Mick Philip Jagger, actually Michael Philip Jagger. That was his original birth name. He came to America by storm on a British invasion. He was presented on the Ed Sullivan Show. He grew up in a seemingly endless time warp. His first manager was Andrew Oldham. His manager, Andrew, transformed him from a shy and timid Mike to an outstanding performer. On drug charges and a scandal with that, in 1967, that caused his imprisonment. He started originally as an economics student, originally spent his boyhood years in Wentworth County, England. He did a Hyde Park concert. It was unpublicized, and it was a heroic role at an almost festival, and that's where he did his poetry. His history of beautiful women had brought his legacy to incredible heights. These beautiful women included Chrissy Shrimpton, Marianne Faithfull, to Jerry Hall. Keith Richards was known as his glitter brother. He was a great songwriter in songs such as Symphony for the Devil, a truly epic legendary pop performance. The Rolling Stones, as a group, bigger than life and sassy, the band first performed at the Crash Daddy Club in 1962 with the band name then was the Little Boy Blues Band. Keith Richards had been with the band since 1962. Charlie Watts joined the band as their drummer. Phil Wyman joined the band as the bass. They first appeared in America on Shindig. The band's first pop song was Satisfaction, was released in America in 1965. In just 6 weeks, Satisfaction jumped 67 places on the Billboard. Satisfaction was one of the most all-time pop songs. 67 places, charts to become the Stones' #1 single hit of all time. Mick Jagger was known as the Elvis Presley of pop, as he would originally swivel his hips that were equally explicitly sensual and Jagger's moves. The sensual overtones of Satisfaction brought the daring presence of Jagger's dance equal to the Elvis Presley's Heartbreak Hotel in that time. The secret words between the lines of Satisfaction made this song a new pop revolution hype, with word lines such as "to make some girl." With this insatiable routine, hardly considered as a blues band for this. As the group came into a league of their own, no other performance could possibly match Mick Jagger's swaying of his legs and hips except James Brown. Mick's lips and mouth matched performance in sync with his hips moving, made his swivel almost a scandalous with a girly overtone. With a "hey, hey, hey, that's what I say," and tossing his head back and swirling arms brought his audience screaming for more. The Ed Sullivan Show made the Stones a classic American debut as icons. Brian Jones had done a lot for the band that he made them become the world sensation. At a party, though, Brian Jones lost his life. Brian's known as the attitude of the band. Brian Jones, his attitude of life was life is fast and die young. And with that attitude, as a prelude, as a destiny that tragically came true. After Brian Jones was found dead in a swimming pool of his Sussex home, the Rolling Stones played a tribute concert to him in front of 250,000 people in London in Hyde Park. Next, the band found more tragedy when they gave a free concert in San Francisco in 1969. Their audience was a crowd of thousands, all taking acid, drinking wine and heroin. It was a cold day, so they all built bonfires to keep warm. The first mistake was that the crowd control that in order to do that, they hired the Hells Angels. It was a motorcycle gang. The Angels had objected to seeing a black and white man coupled together, because that was something against, during that time, that people thought that the Hells Angels didn't like. One of the Angels kept pushing the black man named Meredith Hunter. Hunter objected with a furry and a gun and went to the pointed right into Mick's face from across the crowd to kill him. With a quick instant and a huge jump, one of the Angels thrusted the knife into Meredith's jugular, killing him instantly. At the same concert, more tragedy. 2 people died in a car accident and another had drowned in a drain pipe. Mick made the comment about it. If Jesus had been there, he would have been crucified. It was truly the darkest night in the rock band's history. Violence went out of control for the Stones. After a litigation lawsuit with their manager, Alan Clyde, they went to France and made a couple of more hits, Miss You and Main Street. This is where he was dubbed Sir Mick Jagger. Mick accepted his knighthood from Prince Charles in 2003. Mick Jagger helped inspire his band, the Rolling Stones, to become the world's greatest rock band and rock and roll of the century. Mick earned his name among the greatest pop rock stars ever, and those would be such stars as John Lennon, Buddy Holly, the Beatles, Elton John, Elvis Presley, Madonna, Paul McCartney. There is a new book out Mick Jagger and his life story, and it's called The Wild Life and Mad Genius of Mick Jagger by Christopher Anderson. Brian Jones, he died tragically at age 27. He died tragically in 1969. He had a bad temper. He had 3 to 4 illegitimate kids from different women. Originally, he had a very cocky attitude. Originally, the leader of the Rolling Stones. He considered himself the manager of the group. He started in Montreal before the United States. As a group, he had started with them at North American tour. As a group, he had good times with them in Paris. Brian was responsible for the group's look and attitude. Originally, Brian Jones played the piano, clarinet, and guitar. His mother was a music teacher. He liked jazz music and did as little as possible in his young years. He got a 14-year-old girl pregnant, then 2 or more older ones, and had encountered lawsuits because of this from their fathers. He was jealous, cocky, and was prone to outbursts of anger. The first group he started was called the Ramrods, then the Chartones. He loved jazz bars and blues bands. Brian started with the first blues band performance in the town hall. He was the first white blues band in the world. He didn't want to be an architect like his father. It was at his first meeting for the blues band is where he met and encountered with Keith Richards and Mick Jagger. That's when they all got together to decide on a rhythm and blues band. Brian Jones is responsible for starting the Rolling Stones. Brian first started the name Rolling Stones. He started the band as a rhythm and blues band. Brian lived through a short adventure, but an adventurous life with the Stones. From 1963 to 1965, he was eventually replaced by Mick Taylor. Brian liked poems, and he did Dreams of Life in the Park. The group's founder was Brian Jones. He was a brilliant guitar player. He was the edgy member. Brian Jones originated the whole 60s look of the band, including the clothes. Brian never had a hit record under his own name, never sang a song, vocal, or published his own music, but he originated the band and style of that era. Yet, he gave the Stones name, the Stones themselves, their direction and image. It was at midnight, one night, that they found Brian's body at the bottom of a pool during a party. The news of Brian's death had shocked everywhere, brought everyone around the world. Brian died in his pool in his home in the town of Sessa, and he was replaced by, of course, the 20-year-old Mick Taylor. The Rolling Stones themselves sent a heartfelt, spectacular 8-foot arrangement with hundreds of red and yellow roses and the words across them that would say, "The gates of heaven," written out in flowers. And we are now going to take a break, a 2-minute break, and we'll be back shortly. Thanks for listening. You folks at home that are listening, thanks for listening to the Barzone Entertainment. We'd like you to tune in to us at slaminternetradio.com weekly. We're about to go over a break. everybody! Hello everybody out there in Snowland, Chicago on this snowy Tuesday day. You're listening to the Barzone Entertainment presents Rock and Roll Profiles by Msbarzone, brought to you by SlamInternetRadio.com. You could listen to the archives, listen to us anytime you want. You can find us on iTunes or SlamInternetRadio.com. Today now, we're talking about Rock and Roll Profiles, the band, the Rolling Stones, and Mick Jagger.and Keith Richards. Keith Richards was born December 18th, 1943. Been with the Stones since 1962. Country home was the Redlands. Education was that he was an architect student at Dartford Technical. He didn't make it there, he failed, but he sure soared high as a musician. He's known Mick Jagger since he was 8 years old. Started with Decca Records with his hit, the British charts. Is it recording?
No, you're
okay.
Sorry.
2 minutes. Do the intro again. Do it again. Okay. I do the intro again. I did the intro again, right?
Yeah, when the song is done.
What?
When the song is done. It's
Okay.
about a minute and a half.
What?
When the song is done, about a minute and a half.
Minute and a half? Okay. Tell me when. Right when it's over, right?
1 minute.
1 minute. Alright.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Hello everyone, you're listening live to the Barzone Entertainment presents Rock and Roll Profiles by Msbarzone, brought to you by SlamInternetRadio.com. You can listen to us on archives anytime. You can find us on iTunes or again on SlamInternetRadio.com. And today we are listening to the Rock and Roll Profiles of Mick Jagger, and we're talking about the Rolling Stones, and we're going into Keith Richards. Keith Richards was born December 18th, 1943. Born with the Stones since 1962. Country home was the Redlands. Education was that he was an art student at Dartford Technical. He's known Mick Jagger since 8 years old. Kind of tough thing to say. I mean, 6 years old or 8 years old, knowing somebody that height of a rock star. He started with Decca Records that hit the British charts in 1964. Keith had a heroin drug addiction throughout his life that he fought against. Then he ended up going to rehab for. He said that drugs simply sink into you. When you start on the road, since you're 19, 20 years old, they just simply sink in. His relationship with Mick, the leader, had its turns and it had its ups and downs. Sometimes there were strange moments in both their lives. Says he was never bored because every gig was different. Says, you know, we do rock and we occasionally roll. He once went into his own way for some soul searching after a brief split, but found his way back to the group and Mick. He writes his own music, says he ain't no one else can sing that but me. He's the best solo guitarist ever. And this was his performance. His performance held true to his words in his solo with Mick Taylor doing Symphony for the Devil. He got married to Patty Hansen in 1983. In his younger years, his marriage with 2 children and with a home with drugs and rock and roll and syringes around it, he survived though. Keith Richards idolized Chuck Berry. So he bought an electric guitar when he heard Chuck Berry's performance, and he started to rock and roll. The whole group became hard boy with a clad bad boy leather look in the 60s. Mick would always give an electric performance with his guitar. The song As Tears Go By was written with Mick and Keith in the bathroom, locked on their own until they finished. The group stirred up so much trouble as the bad boys that Ed Sullivan didn't want them back. Keith's favorite expression was, "The truth is, I'm more into the roll than I am into the rock." After 25 years with the Rolling Stones, Keith began a new career as a solo. In his new album, it was called Talk Is Cheap, and he did a tour in 1988. He teamed up with Steve Jordan, a New York guitarist, to write and produce it. We're going to break again for a commercial, and once again, the Barzone will be right back with Rock and Roll Profile. Hello everybody in the audience out there. Don't forget to tune in to SlamInternetRadio.com. Find us on iTunes. again, to you folks at home, you can tune in to SlamInternetRadio.com and hear what we're listening to. Let's see if it's still rolling. Yeah. What? Ready?
Not yet.
I do the intro now.
We're gonna do the intro. So the song's got about 1 minute left.
4 seconds?
1 minute.
Okay. You ready?
20 seconds. 20.
Okay. Hello everyone, you're listening live to the Barzone Entertainment presents Rock and Roll Profile with Msbarzone. We're sitting here in Chicagoland area, a nice blistery, snowy day with tons of snow piling up. And the Rock and Roll Profiles by Msbarzone Entertainment Magazine is brought to you by Slam Internet Radio.com. And you can listen to our archives at any time you want. And you can find us on iTunes or on SlamInternetRadio.com. Right now we're going to take a service announcement right now. I have a friend that I want to talk to. He's a missing person. His name is missing person Anthony Catalano. And Anthony Catalano has been missing from the Chicagoland area since March 25th. 2009. He was last seen coming from his condo located at 8747 Bryn Mawr in Chicago, which is located at the cross intersection of River Road and Bryn Mawr, near Norwich. His description is 5'10", with blonde hair and hazel eyes, and he has a tattoo of an Italian flag on his thigh. He was wearing a black peacoat jacket when he was last seen coming from his garage at 9:30 a.m. in the morning from the cameras of his condo. There will be a candlelight prayer vigil held for him at his condo, again located at 8747 Bryn Mawr, Chicago, on March 25th, 2013 at 7 p.m. There's more information that you can find on his case on the internet, on Miss YouTube, and also we have websites out for him. There's many, and you can see that. And right now we're going to get back. We also want to introduce our show one more time, and that's Barzone Entertainment presents Rock and Roll Profiles by Msbarzone. Again, and it's brought to you by SlamInternetRadio.com, and you can listen to us, our archives, at any time you want. You can find us on iTunes or on SlamInternetRadio.com. We're going to talk today again about the Rolling Stones, and we're going to do an up-to-date recent story of their history, what they're doing up to date, and their Rolling Stones adventure. The greatest rock group of all time is the Rolling Stones, and the greatest rock record of all time they ever did was Exile and Main Street. It was recently re-recorded and released. The history behind this record comes from the Stones' greatest archives misadventures when the group fled in exile to France. The group fled to France to evade their taxes, which were so high that their taxes were higher than what the band made. So, while they were on the run, they made the record in Keith Richards' rented mansion, and that was the record in the album Exile on Main Street. Most of their albums were written with the influence of alcohol, drugs, sex, and more rock and roll, and of course with an occasional dose of heroin or two. The relationship has been quite strong between Mick and Jagger. That would be Mick and Keith Richards, and that throughout their years between the two icons, they always remained the best of friends. They're best known as the world's pop stars glitter twins, and of course the whole band wouldn't have made the scene trip at all if there weren't the ever-presence that helped them to heighten of the other members of the band, and that would be Bill Wyman, of course, that would be Ronnie Wood, the guitarist, and that would be Charlie Watts, the drummer. And again, we will be back in 2 minutes after a commercial break from our sponsor. And again, you folks at home, if you're still watching the Barzone, Msbarzone on YouTube, Anthony Catalano has been missing since March 25th, 2009. And we're looking for people to come forward. They can tune in, and they can just keep in tune with Msbarzone. That's on YouTube. Maybe give us some answers to what's going on with this case. Hello? Hello, everyone. Oh, music. Music. Okay. Again, you folks at home watching the Barzone, tune in to us on iTunes at SlamInternetRadio.com. We had a real radio station, if you believe that.